Hi. It's very quiet. No title screen music in this one, apparently. Welcome to Submachine Universe. This is the final game in the Submachine series, at least that we have left to play right now, if you don't count the HD versions and stuff. And this one is a little bit different. Well, first of all, it's a downloadable XE Flash game essentially instead of being hosted online. So this is a lie. I don't actually have this this background. It's just black, what I'm seeing, but I kind of liked having those borders when I was playing the other games. So I'm gonna have the borders anyway. It looks kind of cool. And yeah, as I said, no intro music, but I did confirm that there is sound in the game, so that shouldn't be a problem. And well, this game apparently is a little different in terms of the Submachine series. It's like, oh, hello, Timothy. Yeah, it's all a lie. This game is it's like the same concept that we've had in Submachine, where it's a teleporter and stuff. Hey, Circo as well. There's the teleporter, there's coordinates, you go around, you hunt for things. I kind of looked up a little bit about this to understand more about what I was getting into, but it's way less structured, and hey, QQQ as well. Apparently there's almost no structure. You just kind of go around. You can just brute force some teleporter stuff, just try random codes, and then you might teleport somewhere, and there's just tons and tons of worlds and areas, and the main goal is to just find 4 tile pieces, A through D, like we've seen in the past. But I don't know exactly where they are, or obviously I don't, but I don't know if there are more of them or anything like that. If there's multiple locations, or if it is just find those 4. Either way, seems like it's less structured, less linear, and you just kind of go in and see what you can find. So yeah, we'll see how long this ends up taking. Seems to be a bit more of an extensive one in terms of the amount of screens there are and such. Write your own note. Okay, I was gonna bring up a notepad document and do that, so I figured writing down codes and stuff, but I guess we won't need to do that. We can just use the in-game function. Oh my god, look at this! Look at this silky smooth 60 FPS screen change. That's insane! Holy crap! That is just magical compared to the online Flash that's 15 FPS or whatever. Yeah, everything is ultra smooth. I guess this is what it feels like to play one of the HD versions. Yeah, I should do that at some point. No power. Yeah, here's the teleporter, but no power, so I guess we have to do a little bit of an initial puzzle here. Toothbrush? Huh? Okay, soap. Where did he drop the soap? No, you can only have one open at once. Nothing in there. Okay. Flush the toilet, of course. Can't even do that. Okay. Weird. So how is soap gonna help us start this computer? Already stuck. Good start. Oh my god, you can click these code or these buttons. I looked here and didn't see anything, but yeah. Okay, so we turn all 3 off. What does that do? Nothing? What is happening? It's not just trial and error, is it? check the other ladder. There's another ladder. Oh, this one. Oh, wow. Yeah, I didn't even notice this one. Holy crap. Oh, I see. Oh, so that's for lights. Okay. I mean, I guess we just want all three on then. Like, lights and the computer and whatever else. Yeah, now that power's on. I guess the teleporter is the other one. So computer, lights, and teleporter. What if I just turn off the lights? Oh, you can't go anywhere. Okay. No. I see. So these are just like codes that we know we can go to. So I should probably write all these down, I guess. Oh, shit. I just exited full screen mode. Oh, God. Now it's all white. Oh, God. What's happening? Wait. Cancel. Full screen. There we go. Does it look okay still? Yeah? Oh, my God. So, I mean, I guess should I even write these down? It's gonna be tedious. 051076. I'm thinking I can, like, write them here, and then when we go to them, I can write, like, which dimension they are, or something like that. 541, 551. Six 2 642. Alright, so we'll have that. And then I guess we just go. So, like, 000 is obviously just where we are. Yeah, there you go. 001 does actually work. So can I just, like... Yeah, you can just bump it down. So... I don't know. Start, I guess. This is, like, the lab, maybe? I don't know. Yet. Yeah, it's like some of the places we've seen before. Open? Oh, I see. Now this is open. Garbage chute or something? Oh my god, already we're just going. Valve? 316, okay. I guess we'll, like, put them in sort of order. Yeah, it looks pretty so far. You're supposed to try and find the coordinates, not guess them. I don't think that's true. It's both. Like, I heard people say, like, in the wiki, it said there's both approaches, basically. Like, you can just go where it tells you to go and then find out where to go next, but there's, like, blind jumping is a concept, like the term that the community calls it, where you just, like, just jump to the next thing. And I mean, I don't think it's outlandish to just go to coordinate 1. Sure, we might not, like, do every 1,000 coordinate thing, but still, makes sense to me to just try 001 and see what happens. That's the thing, this seems to be a lot more flexible. You can kind of just go wherever you want, whenever you want. So yeah, we could just go to, like, 002. Yeah, there you go, there's another one. Like, not every single coordinate will be 1. There you go. 003 is not a place to go. This plus Y? WY? Huh. Okay, let's do 002 and then type, I guess. That, just so I have it. I don't know what that means. Yeah, okay. So, I mean, now, I guess we'll just go to 051. Written by Serpentos. Preface. Despite an abundance of theories and the occurrence of much research and exploration, the submachine remains a mystery. However, few studies have addressed the technological and mathematical features of the submachine and the subnet. This essay will examine... Oh god. Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay, we're gonna be reading here for a while. You know, all the coordinates except 2 appear as clues. Okay, I mean, yeah, that makes sense, but again, I don't think it's wrong to just guess them. That's why this game is created as this concept, like it's less linear. You can just solve it in many different ways, essentially. So I don't think it's... Basically, I'm saying I'm not gonna just do what the game tells me to do. I'll try different things, because that's more fun. Where were we? This essay will examine the historical development of the submachine from a generally mathematical perspective and will derive a conclusion from this account. Jesus Christ. I'm not good at reading. History and development, defining the submachine. In order to construct an account of the history of the subnet, we must first define the submachine. The consensus is that a submachine is a terminal with a coordinate input. When a coordinate has been set and a button has been pressed, an algorithm is executed and the user is transported to the location at the set coordinates. Essentially, the submachine is a teleportation device, a portal. This is the definition that this essay uses. But note that a submachine could also be the collective term for a location that a portal is situated in. Okay. Expect a lot of reading. There's a lot of text in this game. Yeah, okay. That's gonna be fun. Root submachines. The first submachine was first established in 1904 by an unnamed scientist, Murtagh. In those decades past, technology was rather primitive by modern standards. Despite this, the scientist was able to create something that went far ahead of the 20th century. This first submachine has been given the name of the Root, and based on qualitative, I think, observations, seems to be located in a large and underground cavern, hence the name Submachine. Submerged machine! Wow! Lore! Features of the Root include a lighting system connected in series, speakers/microphones, cables, and the much-studied observation room. This observation room was presumably installed much later on in the 1950s, perhaps due to the availability of video technology. Nevertheless, we see a lack of artificial intelligence, and instead a large array of devices with specific tasks that are designed to be used manually by humans. Something else to note is that the kinds of devices in use seem to work in conjunction as a sort of infrastructure for a testing environment. Could the submachine have been a human project? We then have the actual submachine. It is a device located in the middle of this initial chamber. Oh god, what is even happening here? Which, using a set of 2 variables, most likely x and y, of the Cartesian coordinate system, is able to teleport the user to a specific location. This location is determined by the coordinate input, which is done via a set of 6 cipher plates. Really? Huh. If there are 6 cipher plates and 2 possible variable combinations, then we know there must be a maximum of 43 different locations that can be traveled to. The sets of ordered pairs are... this stuff? Really? This is like a prototype they're talking about? Before we got to like 3-digit 1000 combination one or something? These sets are only found in the first quadrant of the two-dimensional Cartesian plane. QI? This implies that the first submachine does not encompass negative coordinates and therefore cannot expand its functions into Q2. Oh, Q1, Q2, Q3, and Q4. Oh, I see. Like in terms of like, what's it called? Yeah, like a coordinate system. It's just like positive X, positive Y, and Q1 is that quadrant of coordinates, basically. It is evident the first submachine functions in a very systematic manner. For example, using A as the left cipher slot and B as the right cipher slot, user inputs A. If A equals 0, set X equals 0 in X and Y. Yeah. From database, 00 is the origin, therefore send user to origin. Okay. This essay will refer to the first submachine as the root submachine and will treat it as a type of submachine. XYZ submachines. There we go. These are the ones we're actually using. a submachine that is more familiar to us is the 3-coordinate one. So, like, the previous one was the one from... Which game was that again? Was it... It was The Root? Submachine 5, The Root, or something like that? Where you had the thing where you plugged in, like, a cipher on the left or right, or neither, or both. And I guess there were, like, more values to be set there, but we didn't have access to those at that point. It seems more compact, independent, and has a larger range of functions. It is no longer attached to large sets of cables and pipes, but rather functions on its own. Infinite energy! This suggests it has a built-in power source. Furthermore, it encompasses 3 coordinate variables, x, y, and z. Just, it seems like the writing is a lot more fleshed out and, like, probably, like, spell-checked and stuff a lot more than in the previous games. Like, so far there haven't been any typos or anything like that. Because, yeah, the English was always a little wonky in submachine games. Like the Root submachine, this newer submachine can still only function in Quarter 1. It has no negative coordinates support, but now on a 3-dimensional plane. This provides a far larger magnitude of locations it can encompass, as shown by this example using A is X, B is Y, C is Z. Yeah, I get it. I understand. Yeah. Another interesting feature to note about both submachine models is that they support a maximum coordinate value of only 9 or less, 0 times 9. Note that the Root model can potentially exceed this feature, provided there's evidence of more than 9 types of cipher plates. Location, redacted, suggests that such a possibility as it has space for 12 cipher plates. Ah, interesting, so we might be able to find that at some point, but we don't know where. It is also necessary to consider the loop, which has been theorized to be the true form of the submachine. What is so interesting about the loop is that it is an incredible step ahead of past submachine technology, is it? Although we do not teleport from coordinate to coordinate, we move around in coordinates, as shown to us by a device we pick up, and now there's negative coordinates, I suppose. Even though this coordinate system only functions on a 2-dimensional level, x and y, it features a domain of x, z, and a range of y, z, meaning it expands infinitely in both directions. Okay, I don't know what xc and yc means, but I get that. We now have a system that supports all 4 quadrants. In addition, the human authorship we perceived earlier now seems to start diminishing, and it becomes possible that the loop is not a creation of man, but of the submachine itself. Let's take the defense system area as another example of this. This is just like a lot of lore regarding, like, fleshing out things in post, basically. Things that we've already experienced, which is kind of cool. It's just like being explained more. We finally see a fully fledged 3-dimensional and XZ, YZ system when viewing the subnet infestation map. We can logically assume that the core, notated by C, is the origin, 0, 0. If so, we have an infinite expanse in both positive and negative directions. To prove the 3-dimensional concept for a final instance, we can examine the grid that appears before we leave for the subnet defense system in the S1 mover. Okay, now I'm getting lost a little bit. The grid shows 3 axes, clearly X, Y, and Z, indicating a 3-dimensional travel path. The mover itself travels on the C axis. Huh? Yeah, that part lost me. I've followed everything up until now, but that, I don't know. It is evident that over time, humans departed from the submachine as it became a more self-maintaining system. It is unclear whether the humans or the submachine itself developed the artificial intelligence that is observable in the edge, but the point is that the artificial intelligence exists. Whereas the root was clearly maintained by humans, such a human-based system is no longer necessary in the edge. Instead, self-updating graphs and various algorithms, i.e. protocols, can be found in the binary layers of the subnet defense system. Yeah, we know this. This is when we were doing Submachine the Edge, I guess. Going into all the, like, 1s and 0s binary systems and stuff, just toggling things on and off. The subnet defense system is able to collect results and behave accordingly as dictated by the protocols. I need a drink, holy crap, 1 second. Yeah, oh boy. A lot of reading already. However, because the system can be accessed by physical terminals, some form of maintenance must still occur. This is no doubt performed by subbots, who function very systematically. Subbots are integral to the maintenance infrastructure in the subnet defense system. This is found in the form of identity cards, personal identification number, PIDN, entry points, and connection pod terminals. At certain moments, the binary program of the subnet defense system can request assistance with repairing a function. It cannot fix itself and requires external aid. So that's kind of like why we were able to tamper with things, I guess, back then. In expansion, so like the system kind of thought we were bots, I suppose? Or like maybe it was just like it had support for either subbots or humans maintaining things or whatever. In expansion, subbots are known to visit XYZ coordinates and ensure that everything is functional. Evidence of this can be found in location, redacted, goddammit, where a pipe breakage has caused a loss of 20% of sub-energy harvested from a wisdom gem. A subbot has left a report in that location specifying details. It is unknown what will occur afterwards, but it's very likely that the event is recorded in a large library or archive in the edge, or perhaps even in the core. Absolute and relative coordinates. This essay postulates two kinds of coordinate systems, absolute and relative. The absolute coordinates are the ones that the three-variable submachines make use of. Relative coordinates are positions relative to an absolute coordinate. Sure. Legacy of the route. So I'm guessing like if we go somewhere and then find like a relative thing, like let's say we teleport to 054 or whatever, and then in there, if we find a thing that teleports relative to 054, we could still go to 054 and it would be a different location because it's using 054 as the root 00 point, essentially. Legacy of the route. Wait, did I miss one? No. Legacy of the route. The root submachine was not totally abandoned, and after newer submachines came into play. An example is required to illustrate this. The absolute coordinate for the root is redacted. Goddammit. However, relative to itself, the root is at 00. Cipher plates allow movement from this relative origin to other points. They could be used to move to a location like 1, 2, although 1 would be 1 X unit and 2 Y units away from the origin, they would still be in redacted. This suggests that XYZ coordinates are not point locations, but instead cubes or spheres of volume. Okay. It's losing me again here. Whether each different absolute coordinate has different cipher plate designs or not is unknown at this time. However, this would not matter since different root submachines are totally independent of each other. Cipher plate terminals have been found in other coordinates since the commencement of the subnet. Such coordinates include all of these that we don't get to see. Loops. The loop and loops in general function via the absolute and relative coordinate systems. Each individual loop has its own relative origin and then expands infinitely in both x and y directions relative to this origin. However, each individual loop is also absolutely located on a large 2 or perhaps 3-dimensional and infinite grid. When in the loop, the teleportation device is activated. It is possible that it selects a random absolute coordinate and teleports the user there. Okay. Conclusion. The subnet is an array of independent locations interconnected by teleportation devices called submachines. The system is based on several coordinate planes, the largest being infinitely expanding in all directions. The submachine was once a human project which progressively became more advanced and self-maintaining. Currently, all exploration in the subnet is being done in Quarter 1. But if the spherical model of the submachine is correct, more advanced submachines with negative... What? More advanced submachines with negative coordinate supports will allow the other 3 quadrants to be explored. Summary. Wait, didn't we... Conclusion and then summary, okay. I guess you could have just skipped all of this and just read the summary. A submachine is a teleportation device that functions on a coordinate system. The submachine's coordinate system has developed over time. It was first 2-dimensional and had finite range. It then became 3-dimensional and developed the range of XYZ. There are 2 types of coordinates, absolute and relative. Absolute coordinates are like XYZ coordinates and are defined with an origin, perhaps the core, as a frame of reference. Relative coordinates are combinations of cipher plates. I see. Each absolute coordinate. So we're only ever, if we ever find a teleporter, like if we're at a teleporter that has XYZ, that is absolute always. And like if we go to one of them and teleport to 000, it's gonna be the same on all of them. We'll just go back to the start. But the like cipher versions, we'll probably find some of those, and those don't work in the same way. They're like independent. Okay. Each absolute coordinate may have its own set of relative coordinates. Thus, each XYZ submachine may have its own root submachine. As a result, XYZ coordinates are not point locations, but spheres or cubes of volume. That part I just don't understand, but whatever. The submachine network, subnet, can expand indefinitely. Humans created the submachine and were central in its early stages. As they continued developing it, they essentially left it, and it independently grew to maintain itself and expand on its own. Most submachines, the edge, and perhaps the core are all maintained by subbots. Afterward, I credit any other researchers and theorists that contributed to this essay or pointed out any flaws. Oh boy. Please excuse any inaccuracies in this essay. It was a long study to write, but I do hope that it furthers submachine and or general subnet theory. Yeah, this all just feels like kind of, it's like justification for the system that in the previous games probably weren't like that thought out, really. You know, thinking about like XYZ coordinates and stuff, it was just kind of like thrown in as a way to teleport around and stuff, and now it's like expanded upon a lot. Just gotta make it like really logical and scientific, and that's kind of cool, I suppose. But yeah, just a lot to read. Uh-huh. Alright. There's the core. I don't know if we can, like, get any information from here, like, coordinates-wise, but guess I'll leave it for now. See, like, that's the thing. I'll probably be going through these coordinates that I find when I find them, but if I ever get stuck or something, I'm probably just gonna try, like, jumping to random coordinates, because that seems like a good way to not get stuck. Just try something random, and then eventually you'll find something that might help elsewhere. What? Why does it say 2 on the 1? 3. 3. 1. What? 1, 2, 3? 1, 2, 3? Why? Alright, I don't know what's up with that. But I guess that's everything we can do here for now, so guess we'll go to the next one. So this was 051. Subnet essay. I'll just say that. Maybe I should specify that there's like this stuff as well, but I'm sure it's fine. So now let's go to 76. A road. Amazing. Oh, more reading! Okay, this isn't as much, but holy crap. Safe Haven Theory, written by Death Road. Wow, edgy name. Submachines are based in the future, not necessarily the far future, but they are. Designed for the oncoming World War III, or some other major catastrophe, but most likely dealing with some war, because the humans would need time to build this, and it was designed for war, then this would mean that's one hell of a run-on sentence there, mean it'd need a fair bit of technology to start off with. Holy crap, from here to here is one sentence. When the knowledge of some catastrophe came to the forefront, the major powers of the world, most likely consisting of the US, the UK, Russia, Germany, Japan, and possibly China, used the efficient technology that they already had to develop giant superstructures in their nations that would be built for protection. So there would not be a stop to global economy. They needed a way to get in and out of these places at ease, and so there are teleporters scattered throughout the submachines. Does that mean that when we're teleporting, we're like going between like basically everywhere in the world? It's not like it could be on the other side of the globe and stuff. I don't know. The submachines, or safe havens built underground, were built using sophisticated AI. and this was necessary so that it could know when there were threats in the outside environment and know how to counteract them if they should try and harm the submachines. As you know, AI can build on itself. First it had the AI to counteract threats, now it has the AI to build onto its already... Okay, first typo we've seen. It is instead of it's already... Wait. Okay, this is just a weird sentence in general. Now it has the AI to build onto its already existence. I mean, like, it's... I don't know how you would even write that. Expansion theory. What? Okay, yeah. Here we go! This is the submachine that I know and love. Once the threat of the war or catastrophe was over, people left and went back to their normal everyday activities. Oh boy, back in the normal homes. And the massive superstructures were almost entirely forgotten. Now there are teams exploring these places along with Murtagh's help, or pretended help. It uses the expansion theory, and it says that nobody has really used them in time enough to remember them. Oh god, I don't even understand any of this. So since it has AI, and realizes that there are no humans, there is no need to create bathrooms and sofas, but you do see many chairs, specifically one chair, and the lab that's a part of it that we are pretty sure was built by humans, and both S4 parts of the lab and S5 part of it have bathrooms. Holy shit. Yeah, this was just a mess. This entire thing is a giant mess. It's written like really poorly compared to the essay from before. Alright, 1 is greater than 8. Fine, let's write that here, I suppose. What was this one even talking about? Safe haven. I'll just write that. Safe haven, 1 is greater than 8. Right? That was what it said? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, chairs again. But we haven't seen the chair. 304. Okay. Probably wrote poorly due to the amount of text in this game. Yeah, I'm sure there's gonna be... Like, I guess more effort was put into the essay, because that's, like, explaining everything, basically. And the rest of the notes might be a little more hurried in development. 2 is greater than 7. Or maybe it's just, like, 2 and then 7, if it's, like, a sequence we're figuring out. Human target theory, written by Death Road. Humans have been entering the subnet constantly, but as they make it through and, Jesus Christ, and into greater areas, they are destroying the submachine or changing the submachine to where its AI is disturbed. In this reason, the AI has grown weary of humans and has tried to eradicate any human who enters it using, again, it is defense system. This theory uses Void's theory over defense systems protecting from unwanted teleportations, as are obviously used in most of the game by us. What? And this assumes that we are human. Okay, I don't understand anything this Death Road guy writes. 2 is greater than 7. Okay, that doesn't work yet. Oh my god. Hey, it's Death Road! Submachine! Really? Is that... Wait, that's a typo? The title? Submachine theory. Okay, what if Mur is just the name? Or maybe it's because of Murtagh, Submur. Okay, maybe it's not a typo, I don't know. What if Mur is just the name that the submachine has taken on for itself? Going along with the absorption theory, where people who are dead are absorbed into the submachine. When Mur originally was a person, which we are sure he at least was, because he had arms. Wow, great. He was searching the subnet, but what happens to most people happened to him. He lost sense of what he was doing, where he was, and anything else. Amnesia theory. But as he lay dying, the submachine began to absorb him alive! And since he was still alive, he fought the machine. Okay, I was distracted by this again. I'm just thinking if this has to do with, like, the order of these papers, but probably not. It's something unrelated, I think. And since he was still alive, he fought the machine and then infused with it, And he can control anything, anywhere in the subnet. And that is how he could see that you did a good job in S4 like it says in the end. Man, this Death Road guy, yeah. He needs to, like, end his sentences more and not abuse the poor comma so much. Oh, once again, can only open one drawer at a time for some reason. And we can't, like, turn this around. But then, like, we turn this on and then go up, and now it'll actually be shining up there or something. Yeah, exactly. Space-time is not the way we think, or something. Can I go to 00 here? No. We need ciphers. Alright, so I guess that's it for this part. Wait, what was that? It was like 3 is greater than 5? Yeah. I should write that down again. So what happens if you, like, write too much? If I just, like... Okay, it just goes to another line. That's fine, I suppose. I can always just do, like... Okay, you can't press tab, but I could always, like, do a couple spaces to keep writing if there's more to write about one particular location. So I guess we'll go to 304 then. This good old panel where we found that secret in another game suddenly feels like this is like lower quality drawings, or I don't know, this looks kind of janky to me. Maybe not. Yeah, we have this. It's all just like locations we've been in before. Oh, what does it say? I don't know what that first thing says. Is it F1? Or is it A? Or... I think it's F1 or FI. Yeah, something like that. 342. F1, I guess I'll say. If that's like floor 1? No idea. Yeah, I guess that's it. That's all we can get here right now, so, I can't remember, like, what all these areas are called, like, where these were located, but... Oh, man. I don't know, I'll just say blue bathroom, because that's the only thing I have to go on with that. Not 1? It's I. Okay, I mean, maybe. How do you know it's 1 and not... Or how do you know it's I and not 1? I guess maybe find out later. Oh. Real-life snow. And cars. Can't see on 160p. Oh boy. Is your internet just really, really bad? Because watching in 160p is pretty sad. I think I actually have, like... Yeah, there are transcoding options now, at least. Sometimes they're there, sometimes they're not there. Alright, no idea what this is about. Only on Twitch. You can watch 4K on YouTube. That's weird. I've heard other people say similar things. IRL snow pics. That's all we have to go on for that. 342. What, really? I guess it's not? Like, this is something unrelated. Or it's a clue, like Fi or F1 equals 342, but then I need to do something else to get a better coordinate. I'll just leave it there for now then. Two, 1, 8. This is a nice sound. More IRL pictures. Radar dishes. Oh. Telewizja? Hablowa 757, like in Russia or something. You can just turn off the monitors, okay. No other numbers hidden in these? No. Alright, well, I guess we got 2 more codes. So, 218. Dong. Okay. Oh god, this thing again. I don't know what I'm, like, trying to make with it, though. I'm, like, trying to make a cube or something, but... Or a circle? Or a fan? Maybe it's just nothing right now. 006? Okay, that does nothing. Okay. And we're gonna hear the fucking bell ringing. Also, I guess 666 is gonna be one. Hold on, let's just write that down. We're gonna be hearing this bell all the while reading these, or this. In his Against Heresies, Irenaeus argues that 666 is a particularly fitting number for the name of the beast in Revelations 13:18, I think that is. Since he sums up... Sorry, I had to cough. Since he sums up in his own person all the commixture of wickedness which took place previous to the deluge. Oh god, this is going to be hard to read. Yeah, this is a very nice biblical text with difficult words. Due to the apostasy, I think that's how that's pronounced, of the angels. For Noah was 600 years old when the deluge came upon the earth. Or I don't even know how any of this is pronounced. Sweeping away the rebellious world. For the sake of that most infamous generation which lived in the times of Noah. And Antichrist also sums up every error of devised idols since the flood, together with the slaying of the prophets and the cutting off of the just. Can't you mute the game? I could, yeah. If you don't want to hear the bell, I can just do that. And Antichrist sums up, together with the slaying of the prophets and cutting off the just. CF, Matthew 24:37, Luke, blah blah blah, whatever. For that image, which was set up by Nebuchadnezzar, I think it's how that's pronounced, had indeed a height of 60 cubits. What? While the breadth was 6 cubits, on account of which Ananias, Azarias, and Misal, when they did not worship it, were cast into the furnace of fire, pointing out prophetically by what happened to them. Oh my god. You might need to mute some of the game for some coordinates. Some have some really annoying sounds. Oh boy. Well, I mean, I'm still hearing the bell. I just muted it for you, so maybe I'm not going to be that kind to some, or in some of them, you'll have to like suffer with me. Where was I? Oh god. They were cast into a furnace of fire, pointing out prophetically by what happened to them, the wrath against the righteous, which shall arise towards the time of the end. I don't know what the hell this is talking about. For that image, taken as a whole, was a prefiguring of the man's coming, decreeing that he should undoubtedly himself alone be worshipped by all men. Thus, then, the 600 years of Noah, in whose time the deluge occurred because of the apostasy, and the number of the cubits of the image for... What the fuck is a cubit? Hold on. What is cubits? Any of various ancient units of length based on the length of the forearm from the elbow to the tip of the middle finger, usually equal to about 18 inches. Today I learned. I had no idea that's what it was called. Interesting. Where were we? of the image for which these just men were sent into the fiery furnace do indicate the number of the name of that man in whom is concentrated the whole apostasy of 6,000 years, and unrighteousness and wickedness and false prophecy and deception, for which things' sake a cataclysm of fire shall also come upon the earth. Irenaeus against heresies. Holy shit. Oh God. Oh Jesus Christ. This argument is therefore substantially canonical internal, given his reading of the Gospel's testimony about the Eschaton? No idea. And how Revelations itself portrays the beast. Irenaeus thinks the number 666 makes good sense in that thing, having established the propriety of the number 666 on these grounds. Immediately following, Irenaeus comments on the variant reading 616. Hold on, let's close that. Let's write this down as well. I actually have heard of that, 616. It's like a variation on it. 1. Such then being the state of the case, which with Noah's age at the deluge and the dimensions of Nebuchadnezzar's image, and 2. This number, i.e. 666, being found in all the most approved and ancient copies of the Apocalypse, and 3. Those men who saw John face to face bearing their testimony to it, 4. While reason also leads us to conclude that the number of the name of the beast, if reckoned according to the Greek mode of calculation, by the value of the letters contained in it, will amount to 666. That is, the number of tens shall be equal to that of the hundreds, and the number of hundreds equal to that of the units. For that number, which expresses the digit 6 being adhered to throughout, indicates the recapitulations of that apostasy. I don't know what the fuck it's saying. I don't understand anything of this. Okay? It's a number. Taken in its full extent, which occurred at the beginning, during the intermediate periods, and which shall take place at the end. I do not know how it is that some have erred following the ordinary mode of speech, and have vitiated? I don't even know. The middle number in the name, deducting the amount of 50 from it, so that instead of 6 decads, decads? I don't even know. They will have it that there is but one, i.e. 616. I am inclined to think that this occurred through the fault of the copyists, as is wont to happen, since numbers are also expressed by letters, so that the Greek letter which is expressed the number 60 was easily expanded into the letter iota of the Greeks. 5. Others then received this reading without examination, some in their simplicity and upon their own responsibility, making use of this number expressing one decad. God damn it, hold on. Define decad. Decad. Okay, cool. Thanks, Google. Where was I? Man, I always lose track. While some in their inexperience have ventured to seek out a name which should contain the erroneous and spurious number, now as regards those who have done this in simplicity and without evil intent, we are at liberty to assume that pardon will be granted them by God. 6. But as for those who, for the sake of vainglory, lay it down for certain that names containing the spurious... God damn it, hold on. I'm learning a bunch of words here. Spurious. What does it mean? Not being what it purports to be. False or fake. We're learning. Now, as regards those that have done... Okay, wait. Are to be accepted and affirm that this name hit upon by themselves is that of him who is to come, such persons shall not come forth without loss, because they have led into error both themselves and those who confided in them. Now, in the first place, it is lost to wander from the truth and to imagine that as being the case which is not, and then again... as there shall be no light punishment inflicted upon him who enters either adds or subtracts anything from the scripture, under that such a person must necessarily fall. Moreover, another danger, by no means trifling, shall overtake those who falsely presume that they know the name of Antichrist. For if these men assume one number, when this Antichrist shall come having another, they will be easily led away by him, as supposing him not to be the expected one, who must be guarded against. Okay? So, 616, you shouldn't believe in it. It's bad. It's fake. Fake news. I don't even fucking know. To this appeal to canonical harmony, Irenaeus adds the further stylistic assurance that 666 is the proper numerical equivalent of whatever the beast's actual name may be, according to the Greek mode of calculation, although he explicitly advises against speculation about this name's identity. Although this stylistic observation does not directly help Irenaeus establish the reading 666 as preferable to the reading 616, a consequence of Irenaeus' assertion here is that it sets some bounds. I guess it's not strictly fake news then, never mind. However flexible they may be, around the translation of the number into the personal name for which it stands. That is, this translation should happen according to the Greek mode of calculation, apparently as opposed to any other special or more esoteric mode of calculation that could be applied to the number. The related point that Irenaeus does try to make towards substantiating? I don't even know. The reading 666 is that this reading, unlike the alternative 616, aligns the threeness of its sixes with the threeness of the relevant apostatic periods at the beginning, during the intermediate periods, and at the end. I don't know what I'm reading. For external testimony to the correctness of the 666 reading, Irenaeus cites both 2. The presence of 666 in the beast and most ancient texts available to him, and 3. The explicit approval of this reading by those men who saw John face to face. Therefore, in the phase of appeals 1 through 4, Irenaeus regards the reading 666 as sufficiently well established and sufficiently significant to result in deleterious consequences for those who opt for the alternative 616. Irenaeus, against heresies, blah blah blah. Even after this text-critical argument, however, Irenaeus stresses that properly deciphering the number 666 is sufficiently problematic that, on account of the fear of God and zeal for the truth, it is more certain and less hazardous to await the fulfillment of the prophecy than to be making surmises and casting about for any names that may present themselves. Inasmuch as many names can be found possessing the number mentioned, Irenaeus against heresies. Holy shit, David Stark. I should record audiobooks, fuck that, I'm terrible at reading, but holy crap. I didn't really understand any of this. I mean, okay, 666 and 616, like, just thinking about it in, like, terms of the game that we're playing right now. Also, here you go, have the bell back, because we're leaving now. Oh. But yeah, we got, like, 2 coordinates to explore, basically. And yeah, 666 is a number referring to the beast, but you shouldn't try to find out what the number 666 stands for in terms of the name, because that shit's bad, yo, I guess. Anyway, scientia gravis est praeter non mens et anima est. It's Latin, I suppose. Something about, like, science, maybe? And, like, the importance of science is praeter non mens et anima est. Something... I don't know. I'm gonna just translate this, because, like, this is kind of interesting. Can I just, like, Alt-Tab? No, then it disappears. Let's see if just Google says something about this. The base of the statue has a Latin inscription. Oh, it's just, like, Submachine, yeah. Meaning, knowledge is key, but is not mind and soul. Okay. I don't know what that means. But it's not like... It's not like a what's it called? Like an idiom or whatever. It's not a known saying, it's just something that is in Submachine. It's just translated to Latin, I suppose. Alright, well, time to leave the bell area. So we were in 218, right? I think this is 218, let's just confirm. Annoying bell plus devil. Actually, I'll say plus Latin, because that's more important, I feel. Alright, so let's go to 6 then. Yeah, it's a church. Makes sense. Okay, alright, this is not too much at least. 4-dimension net theory, written by Jacko. The net or submachine, etc., is a 4-dimensional model. For those of you that don't know, the first 3 dimensions... Before I read this, I need another drink, holy crap. If it's gonna be this much reading, I'm gonna have to have my water bottle close at hand. The first 3 dimensions are the aspects of space we live in, i.e. length, width, and depth. Then there is a 4th dimension that is thought to be something like how the universe is shaped, where there is a what's it say? Finite, limited amount of space and matter. I thought like 4 was generally considered to be like time, the passing of time, essentially. But it all folds in on itself in an infinite loop. So when you come up to an edge, you go through it, but come out back at the beginning or center. The thing about 4D objects is that they can be incredibly large, or at least seem to be from the inside, but outside they can be microscopic. The idea is that if you go far enough in one direction and then you will end up back at the start. Such as in S5, where you break, like, okay, that's a bit wrong. Down that bricked up door and end up... Wait, S5? The bricked up door? Is that the blue bathroom? Maybe? And end up under the lighthouse again. If the net were a 4D model that has been made or created in some way, then it would explain how you can continue forever and never meet anyone. And seeing how people would simultaneously be in a place and not be, you would see notes from them, even if you never see them. Yeah, luckily I was sick last week and not this week. Yeah, that if I didn't know there was this much reading and this is what we played like last week, I would have probably just said like, this is not happening this week. Let's just like come back to it. I see, yeah. So we're just looping here now. Triumph. I don't know if I should pay attention to that. I probably should. See? So it doesn't seem like there's anything more than... Wait! Ah! Triumph! I have triumphed. Great. No idea what that does, but triumph is ours. Oh, and error 404. Great, of course. Gotta have all the, like, meme numbers and, like, significant numbers. Alright, I think that's it here. So... we'll just say that. It's triumph. So then 404 is the next one. You never finished playing through Universe? Yeah, I mean, I could see, like, this would not be as annoying. It's not annoying yet, but, like, it's very time-consuming because I'm playing it and reading everything out loud. If I just, like, read things quietly, it would probably, go a lot faster. So if you just did it, like, on your own, just playing the game without recording or streaming, I'm sure it wouldn't be as, insane as it is so far. Theory on Defense Systems, written by Enteroinen? I don't even know. First of all, one must explain the term bell system. It's constructed, so now we're getting, like, justifications for the bells that we've seen in the past, even back in Submachine 1, the basement. It had those bells, and, well, now they'll try and explain why they work, I suppose. It's constructed from 4 bells that are put together to create a puzzle for one to solve. A single bell is a set of a bell. Oh, a single bell is a set of a bell, cube, and the cube stand. It is still unknown to us if the bell systems can have more or less bell in them. What? While there are bell systems in the most of the subnet, they are most likely just the tip of the iceberg. These bell systems are just mere cells of the defense system and has huge amounts of bell system guarding each other. What? There are only 2 possibilities, that either the defense system is Ring of Bel... What is happening? The writing in the not... I don't even know. Like, these written by random people is just, like, complete nonsense. It's, like, not spell-checked even remotely. Ring of Bell systems, which is impossible to break, in which solving the last system in the ring would lock down the first one you opened, or it is possible to crack open this shell from it. Jesus Christ. From inside by solving numerous bell systems and finally opening a panel which reveals a valve button which shuts down the defense system. What the fuck is that sentence? This guy is underusing commas. The previous guy was overusing commas. From here to here is one sentence without anything. Good lord. Defense system gets all it is energy from one source and one source only, which is the core, while defense system takes its energy from the core, it protects the core, so the relation between the two is symbiotic. What does the defense system protect the core from is currently unknown, but we are working on it just now. Holy crap. Oh man. This is like, I can't retain any of the information that's being told when it's written in this way. I just get like so hung up on all the weird grammar and typos and shit like that. 418, I'm a teapot. What? Did it say 418? Okay, well, we don't know what this means. Bell cube. HTTP error 418? Is that happening? Like, in real life, or was that in the game? Real code? Huh? Wait. What? Why are you... Oh, are you just saying, like, that's another number I should try just for the hell of it? Or was it... did it appear in the game and I just missed it? You don't know. Okay. Just, like, it's another interesting number, I suppose. Okay. Well, this atmosphere is kind of interesting, at least. Nothing? There's nothing here. Okay. Wait, hold on. There we go. Didn't see that. Oh, dear lord. Oh, dear lord. Oh, dear lord. Okay. I guess we're not playing this for too much longer. I'll probably take a break in a bit and play some Hat in Time. I'm liking this so far. I'm liking the structure of it, but holy hell is there a lot to read compared to the other Submachine games. Heptapolar Crunch Theory, written by Rulocore. Like, is this like some weird collaboration thing where it was like the creator, Mateus, whatever he was called, something, did he just say like, fans of Submachine, write like your own thesis and whatever, like random things about the things in Submachine and explain them, and then he just put them in the game or something? Is that what's going on here? Or is all of this made by the creator? Like all these usernames and shit? I don't even know. The subnet has 7 layers. Is this another one of the annoying sounds that you would have muted? Because yeah, this is gonna be kind of annoying to read through as well, but I do like the atmosphere. Oh, okay, I thought it stopped. Basically, the layer system works as a set of 7 alternate and parallel universes. Alternate because the reality of every layer is different, so now it's explaining that section of Submachine where you shifted between dimensions. What is a tree on one layer can be a wall on another. And parallel because if you travel from one layer to another, you are actually on the same place, you don't shift your position. The geotags are the same. You'll know it when you hear it, oh boy. Let's suppose our goal is to destroy the subnet, and let's suppose that we want to do it by a literal and direct way, throwing a bomb and destroying every location in the subnet. That's a bit useless due to the fact that there could be hundreds or millions of locations on the subnet, but for my theory it will serve. Even if we threw an atomic bomb over all the locations of the subnet, there are 6 more layers on the plan, and as they are different, so this is Submachine the plan, is it? As they are different realities than the first layer, they wouldn't suffer the bomb's devastation, and they remain intact. So it's again useless to demolish mechanically the subnet, because you would only be destroying a single layer. But there's an easier, relatively, you'll know why, way to shatter the architectural scheme of the whole subnet, by the fusion of the 7 layers of reality. Everyone knows that 2 particles of matter can't occupy the same space unless they fuse together, a thing that is too difficult to achieve, still more with 7 particles. In this manner, if we managed to fuse the 7 layers, it would be easier to destroy them together. It would be like this. When we were merging the 7 layers at the same time, all the matter in each layer would be colliding between itself, and as it couldn't occupy the same space, all the matter in all the layers would become unstable. Then, if 2 human beings were inside that process, but located in different layers, sometimes one person would cross the other as if it were a ghost, but some other times could even touch him, because all the matter is in an 8th layer, a container of all the 7 layers. Finally, if doing the accurate chemical and physical reactions, all the layers manage to merge into one, the amount of matter fused in the same space could cause 2 different things. The mutation of the subnet into another macro subnet, or 2, the disappearing of all the matter, therefore of the whole subnet. I mean, I guess that sort of makes sense, just written in a bit of a roundabout way, but at least there were no typos or anything, not any major ones, at least. More Rulo Core, sectors theory. There are 7 layers in the subnet. We can travel through one to another using a navigator, but you can't access a different layer anywhere you want. There are specific places that only from them you can make an interlayer travel. Huh? These places are called sectors. So, not every place has, like, all these layers, or at least you can't access them. It's only, like, specifically in, like, the previous game that had the 8th dimension thing. Only in those areas can you do that? I don't know. There are several sectors in Subnet, at least 9. Sectors are a group of locations that are in the same place but distributed in different layers. In his travel, the player... Yeah, this is weird. It's like explaining... kind of like breaking the 4th wall and explaining, like... in hindsight, explaining things in the Submachine series that was, like, thought out afterwards or something. I don't know, to, like, justify it. It's a bit weird. The player arrives at the Sector 9, and he explores 7 different locations in 7 different layers, or he only explores a single location that looks different in each layer, because he stays in the same place. But it's not known if there has to be necessarily a location in every layer, or even if sectors can have more than one location in every layer. What? Although it's almost sure there's a location in every layer, if not in some layers, we would fall into the dark void. Huh? I don't know, I'm not following this as much. To make more understandable how sectors work, I will explain it as an analogy of a subway. Imagine every layer is a subway line, and each location of the whole subnet is a subway station. Locations that are not in sectors are normal stations, and locations that are in sectors, like Sector 9 ones, are interchange stations. Then, when we take a green portal to an interchange station, we can go to all the 7 subway lines, walking through the station's corridors. That would be the navigator. Then, if we want to continue our travel in a single layer, we'll have to go the corresponding layer location. Okay, so much for no typos, but at least not too bad. Inside the sector before taking a green portal again and get out of the sector. Probably green portals are only useful for accessing to these sectors and getting out of them, but not traveling between single locations. Oh dear lord. And how do we know if we are in a sector or not? It's easy. To travel through layers, the navigator needs the room to have a beamer, because the navigator needs that the beamer sends a green beam to open the next layer. Then every location inside a sector has to have a beamer in each layer of the location to work correctly. I'm just reading these words and they're not going into my brain. As we have seen, not all the locations visited by the player have beamers. For example, the ship hasn't got a beamer. Therefore, not all the locations are in sectors. Until the moment, we know 2 sectors. The first one is in Sector 9. The first one, it is the Sector 9, where the player goes, and the other one could be S1. The player has visited the sector once at the corridor when he took the mover to the edge. I see. Oh, so the mover is that, like, moving kind of elevator thing in the edge. Okay. However, there's no evidence of any beamer in the corridor, so this leads to think that this location shouldn't belong to a sector. Anyways, if the corridor was really inside a sector, it is not known which are the other locations included in that sector, neither if the player has visited more of them. Oh man, that should be nor if the player has visited, so yeah. In conclusion, sectors are areas where an interlayer travel is possible, and there are several ones inside the subnet. Also, green portals only work if at least one of the locations, the one where we want to go or the one where we are, is included in a sector. I don't know, fine, I guess. Like, it doesn't really mean anything. Sectors work. That's it. Just don't think about it. I guess these are the sectors. Yeah. It's like drawings of, parts of the old games, I guess. And I wonder if this is made by the creator, if this is like a fan's drawings, and like drawing out the map and all the different sectors and stuff. Yeah, Submachine maps. Oh, nothing. Just another chair. Alright, okay. Guess that's done. Okay, so we are in 404, right? Sector explanation. We'll just say that. Oh, right, and this one. The bells as well. Bells plus sector explanation. So we need to do something with the bell here, but we need to, like, fix this, I guess. Maybe. Or maybe I can't. Maybe I can use this somewhere else. Yeah. Not sure, but we'll leave for now. So wait, what did you say? 418? I mean, sure, let's just try that just for the hell of it. Whoops. Nope, that's not one. 541. Whoops. Really wish you could, like, right-click to go back, but you can't right-click in... Oh, man. In Flash. 218. Wait, haven't I been here? Did I go to 541? Or does that just lead to the same... Wait. It just leads... Like, 541 is the same as which one? Or did I go here before? Yeah. Okay, well... Oh, I wrote nothing for it. Oh, okay. Alright. I guess I'll write IRL... ITL... IRL... radar dish pics. And 551. Okay. Oh god. 1 second. This equals 89? Wait, is it this minus 81? Yeah, this minus 81. This plus WY. So when we learn what WY is... I don't know what we're doing here, but okay. What was it? This minus 89. Guess we have to read again. Nothing else to do. Document number. I need another drink. Oh boy. Recorded by Research Team Clero, Sector 4. Dear Professor, we have recently made an astonishing discovery. As evidence shows, the submachine is made in a way so that it can be navigated by a 3-axis portal, which is believed to be created for subbots. Huh? The elements are all here for traveling throughout the subnet in any direction. However, we are missing a key factor in the equation: time. Although we do not have conclusive evidence yet, it is our belief that the submachine may be able to manipulate time. As we know, I suppose, the submachine is able to expand at an astonishing rate. This expansion is like anything we can possibly see possible by a machine. Granted, the submachine is no ordinary machine. We think one answer to this unexplainable rate of growth is that the submachine itself can affect time. If it can slow down time, it will then have the ability to repair itself, build onto itself, and expand faster than would appear to a human. So it can grow. Big deal! The real factor about this is that if it has this much time, it can easily build up its defenses. Although someone that didn't fall for the "it is" trap. Good job, guy, the Void, or whoever. Although this data is unconfirmed, be ready, leave notes, prepare yourself for everything. We are currently testing our theories at the root, as it seems to be the least affected by time manipulation, being that it continues to deteriorate at a normal rate. At a normal rate. Documented by the co-head of the research team Clero, the Void. Second contact. Okay, our preliminary results have come in. We have figured that the submachine has a time factor change ability of approximately numbers. Great. Warning, transmission failure. Unable to unscramble and decrypt data. 747. Okay. Interesting that we get 541, 551, then 747, 757. I don't know if that has any, like, significance in how these are, like, which numbers they do. You don't know why, but some of the text got words all in capital, like time and alive seem somewhat important, but there are some random words as well. Don't know why, but it seems important that these words are in capital. Yeah, that could be something. I did notice that, but I don't know. Yeah, I did notice especially alive. I didn't notice this one. But yeah, maybe that comes into play later somehow. Like, maybe it's with the whole this thing. Maybe it's not this as a concept. Maybe it's like THIS converted into numbers, essentially, or something like that. And like it's a long equation of just numbers that'll take you to a number in the end, like a 3-digit number. I don't know. And maybe then time is like another. You can just translate TIME into numbers that you can then maybe do something with later on, but I don't know. No, this is referring to something simple? You think so? Oh, this one. Oh, I see. This is something simple. Okay. Yeah, 628. I'm gonna do, like, maybe one more of these or something, especially if there's more to read in here. And then we'll, leave it there for the first one here. Oh. Okay. Yin Yang. Oh god. Alright. This minus 229. Oh. Oh, now I get it. I get it. This is something simple. It's this minus 229. It's 628 minus 229. I can't do the math in my head. I'm gonna use a calculator because I'm lazy. So that's just a way to get new coordinates. 399. So I should just put that in here. And then that 551 minus 89. 462. But then we don't know what this is. I couldn't read that, what WY is. Yeah, no idea. Unless it's something weird where it's like W as in like... I'm thinking like Final Fantasy VII or whatever. Like W item means using 2 items. So maybe it's like take twice the value of Y in this number or something. But that doesn't make any sense. You need to find out what WY is. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. At least we get some numbers here then. Oh, it's not the chair. Oh, another valve. Yeah, so this is kind of cool. I guess you could have come here and then gone and placed it on the, like, Triumph thing. Like, it's just a generic valve. You can kind of find them in whichever order you want. 7? I guess maybe I'll change this, so maybe we're gonna get, like, a thing, like X7. I should say, like, Y, but I'm gonna say X anyway. That's potentially a code. Like, if this shifts over, we'll find another digit here. Alright, let's read this last thing. Dimensional Pathway Theory, written by AK, or AK. Have you noticed the way submachines are structured? They appears to be more organically developed than built by our hands. In addition, they seem to thrive in the region of darkness that cannot be entered easily. Somehow, the submachines still have physical connection between lands where we can still walk about, possibly within different dimensions. Huh? This leads me to theorize that Submachine's initial purpose was to grow and tap into other dimensions, acting and thriving within darkness as physical pathways for people to walk on and enter the unexplored dimensions. For reasons unknown, the submachine net seems to gone out of control, constantly growing and tapping into more dimensions. If left unchecked, the submachines could fill every corner's of void between dimensions, forcibly destroying all dimensional barriers and possibly warping physical reality into unnatural states of existence. Or not. Submachine might be more than just elaborate machine or unnatural organism. It is almost like a metaphor of perspection of our reality? Is that a word? I guess it's a word. Never heard anyone use it. I wonder if anybody still alive here have any better ideas of submachines' function. Alright, well that wasn't too much to read, so let's continue checking this out a little bit. Two, 4, 5. Alright, well, I guess that's it. Yeah, I'll keep going a little bit more. Let's check 2, 4, 5. Gregory, happy birthday. What does it say? 2, 4, 5? That's the one I'm in. Cake. Yeah, Submachine 2, 4, 5. Huh. Oh boy. Alright. Oh. Yep. Teleportation shenanigans. Yeah, okay. Wait, is this different? Written by Wanderer? Yeah, there's 2 different... Wait, no. It is 2 different ones. Weird. Okay. Written by Wanderer 99. In 1904, the Root, built in an underground cavern, was once a subterranean research base, but by 1943, just before its downfall, Another person that doesn't know that this is the correct, or that does know that this is the correct way to spell it. That's rare. No one knows that, ever. An unnamed scientist was investigating on how to create a world-making computer program, the Submachine. However, there was one problem. What he had made was not in practical use yet, so this scientist gave the program to Murtagh for safekeeping, in hopes that when the time came for its use, he would know what to do. The program at that time was nothing but a stack of punch cards and tape reels, but over time, Mur reverse-engineered it into a CD and discovered that it was a computer game, of all things. Wow! So in 1984, when computers came to popularity, Murtagh spent his off time at the lab playing that game. It seemed that the game did virtually create an entire world, but 1 year later, when Mur almost completed the game, and prepared to end his obsession over it, something went terribly wrong. One day, just when Mur was about to click the last part of the final game, the computer blue screened. Oh no, I know that feel. And spat out something from the dot matrix printer that he used to give you coordinates. The object floated downstairs and into the test chamber where other scientists were working on the first experiments of teleportation. That thing flew into their prototype portal and, as far as the scientists could tell, headed towards the Earth's mantle. Unfortunately, their portals were not yet built for humans, so they could only track the object, not follow it. That's where the Root's observation room came into play. It was once used in the last days of the Root to study the caverns, but at this point, the scientists reprogrammed it for their use, and the cameras in SNEE were connected to it. Mur was the key observer, and watched as the object seemed to be creating the world that the game described, by taking bits and pieces of what humans had created, moving them underground within the Earth's mantle, alter their molecular composition, and reshape the area into an empty black spherical cavity. Afraid for his life, Mur left the lab, ripped out, and broke the computer's keyboard on his way out. Okay. And drove back to his home in the lighthouse. Ashamed of what he did, Murtagh bricked up his own entrance to the Root and never looked back. Again, really feels like this is stuff that was written after the previous games, just to, like, explain it. And it almost feels like this might have been written by fans, just, like, explaining various parts of the previous games just for fun. I don't know. And then, like, the creator just picked the ones that he liked the most or something, but maybe it's all made by him, no clue. Later, as the 90s came around, Mur decided to leave the city for a vacation and to relieve himself of stress. Kent Falls was his vacation spot. As he was camping by the waterfall, something caused Mur's arm to disintegrate, replacing it with a glowing white karma arm. However, he himself could not see it, which is why he called it the In-One. Huh? The In-One. Murtagh searched for a place... Oh, you mean like in as in invisible? I don't know. Searched for a place to see what his karma arm could do, and selected the Winter Palace in Britain, not too far from there. What Murtagh did not know was that below the Winter Palace... White? The exit showed it as blue? Oh yeah, the... Ah, I see, yeah. I didn't even remember that. He didn't know was below the Winter Palace was the empty space where the submachine was being constructed. As he was experimenting, the spatial feedback from his first portals were shattering the palace and its gardens to pieces, and soon those pieces were sucked into a hole leading to the submachine. Liz warned Mur about the dangers of... Is Liz like Queen Elizabeth? Or some weird shit? Is that what we're going to? Placing those portals, but he did not listen. And when he returned home to the lighthouse, the Winter Palace and South Garden became the core. If you notice the picture in the pamphlet about the palace, that was what it used to look like. The big column at the back happened to be the lighthouse, so it was no surprise why both buildings were made by the same man, Sir Henry O'Toole, or why they suffered the same fate. The 2000s arrived, and Murtagh was close to making a breakthrough. He chose to visit the ancient temple which the Root had discovered one last time. There, inside an Egyptian tomb, once belonging to a pharaoh of sorts, Mur found an amazing wisdom gem. He thought that a gem like that, with so much energy inside, could make an even better karma portal. His first test with that gem took him to the dig-outs under the lighthouse, redacted and redacted. I guess those are coordinates. And he also tinkered with his own karma to make that mechanical hand in his bedroom. As a side note, it is unknown why there is the same hand in the church when the lighthouse currently looks so much like it, or why it had a transporter from the root inside. Perhaps the king, or whoever owned the church, was also a controller of karma. Huh. So that is, like, the church we were in with a bell had the thing, like the mechanical hand thing that shifts around when you move your mouse. But I don't know if there's any point to it. 12/13/2006 was the day of his breakthrough, but he had to work fast, because the lighthouse was scheduled to be buried within the month. A letter to Liz was sent out. Then Mur hoped he'd be able to make a portal out of the lighthouse completely. You mean, make a portal out of the lighthouse, or, like, make a portal that takes you out of the lighthouse? The lighthouse's light bulb, no longer in use, was his perfect source of energy. I think it was like escaping the lighthouse. Light, with an amount of energy that great, he'd be able to make a bigger karma portal out of it. Setting up all those security measures so no one could use it by accident, Mur was ready to make the jump. Even though he knew it was unstable, Murtagh used his portal. He landed at the loop, and shocked to find that Mur was inside, the exact thing he saw as the game he had. Huh? I get what it means, but that's a weird sentence. Finding his way out, and continuing on through the series, it comes down to this. A game was created, and now we are in it. Strange. Alright, let's try and read the last thing as well. Oh boy. I hate my job. Okay. Murtagh recruitment theory. We've all heard that people have been recruited by Murtagh in his 32-year cruise across the subnet, but how did he treat those recruits? I would wager that he found others that followed in his footsteps, like me, by first stumbling into what we call the basement. I have a strange feeling that Mur did not intend for them to come this way. Someone known only as the player met him through his old DOS in the lab, and the only location we know is on the surface. No question that it's not underground. What? Mur responded saying, "Who is this?" I'm skeptical that he knew the player from the start, like some people think. This really is just like, yeah, it's fan theories, fan speculations about the story of the games or something. The player, however, was the only one who managed to not slip through his fingers, figuratively speaking, and die when going to the edge. On a creepier note, I bet the sub-bots sent the dead guys to a location the teams did not know, to be disintegrated. That's how the player saw notes, but no people. Then Mur left the player for dead. I have a bone to pick with him on that topic when this is over. Every single other person from those teams tried to follow all the same paths before now, but failed probably because they had free will, which the player did not have. Huh? He was an amnesiac to begin with, but the others had memories from the start. The subnet's AI drained the memories of them when it was too late to help Mur. That was the stuff we already know, and now here's what I've hypothesized afterwards. Like the player, Mur ran into dozens of trapped individuals on his 3-decade, 2-year expedition without expectation. Huh? Mur became so surprised that he was no longer alone in the subnet as he first assumed, and offered those men and women places to stay in the lab in return for support in his quest for exploration. They all agreed to help, and he constructed this new section of the lab for us all. Now, in return for shelter, he has asked us to help him in his quest to explore the subnet by performing operations under his observation at the root. But he is not giving us profit for our work. That gold coin we found in the basement, that was some of the saved money he left behind when exploring the basement. Now we're being sent around the subnet, some finding new places, some fixing machines, some solving mysteries. I myself am a portal repairman. I wish he could pay us for what we do, instead of stranding some of the first teams out in the middle of nowhere with no memories whatsoever. I pray that things get better. I hate my job. Oh boy. Yeah, I'm having a hard time, like, understanding if this is, like, official lore. Is it canon, or is it just, like, random ramblings of fans? I guess it's official now, since it's in this game. It's very, very weird. And yeah, I'm gonna leave it there for Submachine Universe for now. Again, I like the gameplay concept of this, just going between all these, like, tons of coordinates and finding stuff, and just, you can even, like, trial and error if you want, just guess stuff, and it's more open, and I guess there's more like flexible puzzle parts, not like one specific item you need to find, but instead you need to just find like an item in any point that just fits into any of many different points or something. And yeah, there is a goal to it, apparently, but I don't know how long it takes to get there. But yeah, the reading is maybe a little excessive, but apparently that's just gonna keep going, so might have to play this in a bit smaller doses or something. But yeah, I'll leave it there. We'll take a break, and then we'll do some Hat in Time. Thanks for watching. I'll see you then.